show where we talk with data science leaders from around the world. And we have 4 guests this morning. We have Rachel, Roisin, Payal, and Edwina with us today. So I thought we'd kick this off by just, if you'd like to share a little bit about this conference, how it got started, and just some information for those who have never heard of it before.
Absolutely. So Rachel and I are the co-founders of the UK non-for-profit initiative Women in Data UK, and we founded the initiative in 2015, where we invited 125 women to get together and start our community. It's grown significantly since then, Mike. We have an audience and a community now of 20,000 women here in the UK.
Wow.
And we are hosting our flagship event on the 29th of November in Westminster in central London, where we will be bringing together 1,000 purist data practitioners, female data practitioners in London. So exciting times.
That is so cool. So I can't believe you have 20,000 women that are now part of this event. That's massive growth in a short period of time.
It shows the demand and the need for it here in the UK, but I think that's mirrored globally, and we certainly have plans to take it to a bigger platform globally.
So who are kind of the ideal guests? Like, who's like the target audience? Who would find this like a great conference to be part of?
So our audience is made up of many different parts of data and data disciplines. So it's anybody really from an insight delivery background through to somebody who's really more of a hardcore kind of coder, like a data scientist, right through to somebody who's a data architect or a data engineer. Our audience is really very much made up of lots of those disciplines. But what we do find is that actually the agenda that we offer these guys is something that can complement everyone's skill set.
And seniority, Mike. We work within the community. It starts from fresh graduate, just entering the career path of a data professional, right through to the top of the tree at the C-suite, director level, CDO, etc. And we span all industry sectors. So we have representation from the government right through to some of the leading tech firms. It's incredibly diverse, incredibly diverse.
That's awesome. So this conference is based in the UK. Is there a way for people who are not in the UK to maybe see sessions later on? Like, will there be videos?
Absolutely. Very much so. We will be streaming on the day, and we'll be sharing that information through the Women in Data website. But all of the collateral post-event will be downloadable.
Wonderful. And for those listening to the podcast, the URL is womenindata.co.uk. That's where you can get more details about the live sessions as well as the videos if you're not able to attend in person. What about those people who are new to data science? Would this be a good conference for them?
Oh, absolutely. This is a great opportunity, first and foremost, for them to connect into the community. And for female data practitioners, that's really important, to create a network. So this is a wonderful way to learn the opportunities that are available for a female entering the space of data, and what opportunities are available for them for the longer term, and to see the inspirational women who are already on that journey. And that's why we've created a sub-initiative called 20 in Data and Technology, which is all about the inspirational piece for those that are entering the industry. And that I can pass you over to Edwina, who is our collaborator when it comes to 20 in Data and Technology. And Edwina is an incredible data practitioner herself and a huge inspiration to our community.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I started an initiative called the Female Lead, and as Roisin says, it was after my career in data science, where I worked with retailers around the world, including Kroger and Macy's and Coca-Cola in the US. So I spent a lot of time out there and enjoyed probably 20 years working across your market. But I noticed how very male-dominated the retail world is, and so it inspired me to create this showcase of amazing women's stories and create this book, which is here. And that we now we now send this out to schools, and we are about to start our rollout in the US to a further 9,000 schools. So we're sending it as a gift to 18,000 schools in total.
That's amazing. What is this book? I can't see the title there.
So it's called The Female Lead, and it's stories of 60 amazing women. And so I'm going to obviously show you our most famous lady here, which is Meryl Streep. And it gives all the stories in the background and a very personal interview. And then we go from her to this Nobel Prize winner, and then through to people like Christine Lagarde and Lena Dunham and, you know, many others. Brenda Berkman, who was the first female firefighter who was called out for the Twin Towers fire. She was one of the first people to get called out. She was one of the first women to do that. So amazing stories. And when I met these guys, when I met these guys, I thought, let's showcase women in data and technology. And so that's very much how we've extended the project and how we've collaborated, so that we can now celebrate other women who are equally amazing and brilliant and tell their stories.
That is awesome. So there needs to be a second book now. There needs to be a female lead book on the data scientists and amazing women doing stuff in technology.
Well, it's our passion. It's our shared passion. It's what brought us together. So, I mean, I love telling stories from data, and that's what we have always done. And I think, you know, this is all about storytelling. And so for women who can tell stories that translate into making money for businesses, or certainly having an impact in a business, if we can hear their stories as well, you know, it sort of ignites a whole new era, a whole new, you know, core of students who, you know, I mean, we have a problem in the UK in that girl students don't think they're any good at maths and physics. And so we really suffer from the fact that most turn away from it. So if we can say, you know, women are really good at the data sciences, let's encourage them, then hopefully we can create a whole new wave in industry.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I think that's something that Edwina has been incredibly passionate about is showcasing role models. We know from our work within Women in Data that something that is hugely lacking for the women who are in this industry are people to learn from and people who are like them. And to quote you, Edwina, you can't be what you can't see. So we're looking to really highlight, celebrate and inspire the next generation of female data practitioners here in the UK.
One thing also that was very important about this sub-initiative was to ensure that not only did we nominate and select a number of women across, again, every data discipline, but also across every level of seniority. As we described earlier, our audience is incredibly vast, somebody from maybe a graduate right up to a sort of chief data officer level. And what we wanted to do is to ensure that there was somebody within that 20 that could inspire somebody in the audience, somebody maybe one or two lily pads career-wise ahead of them, that they could very much get some advice from or inspire and maybe follow their journey, rather than perhaps somebody being a little bit too senior, therefore being a little bit too intimidated by them. Because we all need that role model, and indeed we all need to be role models.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important aspect. What we're trying to push collectively between the female lead and Women in Data is that it's all of our responsibilities here as females in the data industry to be role models, to ensure that we are giving a hand down to those that are coming through and ensuring that we are sharing our experiences, our knowledge, and inspiring. It's really important.
as you've been hosting these events and speaking with other data scientists in this field, have you noticed any interesting patterns or stories coming from the women's perspective around working in data science?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the first and foremost is that they are often the only females sitting around the table. And I know that Edwina's got some great stories on what we call, is it he speak?
Yeah, you coined that phrase, and I'm not sure I heard it, but yeah, I mean, I work with my husband, which is very unusual. We grew a business of 1,500 people, but my husband is like the real science guru. And I used to find that I'd make a point, and then he would make the same point about 10 minutes later, and everybody would go, wow, that's really good. And it drove me wild, to be honest. And I thought he was so nice. He'd always say, yeah, you made that point, but literally people wouldn't hear it. And it's just a fact. I'm working on it.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
I think women almost inevitably will say things in a slightly different way. And I think it just takes time for that to be really heard around an all-male boardroom. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just an inflection, or, I don't know. But it's real. It's very, very real. And I did create some coping mechanisms, which was to say a lot less and not explain why I thought something, but just say it. Because men don't explain why they think something quite so much as women. That's my observation.
Yeah.
I think you can turn it to an advantage. Oprah Winfrey said something which I really loved when she explained it. She said she'd been underestimated for most of her life and career. And I think that underestimation, that not quite expecting women to be as strong or as successful, can be used very much to advance. I would absolutely say that, you can turn that to almost a strategy for surprise and delight. Literally, you can come in, say that you have an ambition, that you're going to do something, and then surprise people because you actually do it. And why not? I think sometimes it's a greater strength to turn a disadvantage, i.e. you're the only woman on the board or in the boardroom, and then actually do enough to make that, a significant contribution and take people's breath away because you bring something new and important.
Do you have, you were talking about how your situation with your husband, you would say, like, sometimes you would say something and then your husband would say a little bit later, and it made more of an impact. And I think that goes with back into the boardroom. Maybe somebody says something, and it just doesn't have that whatever. It's not said in the right tone. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give those people who are in that situation where they have something to say, something very insightful to say, but whenever they say it, it's not getting the impact, then someone else says it?
I think you have to put away any frustration, and you have to kind of build on the comment and say, I'm very glad, so-and-so made that point, and I think we therefore are both agreeing on the importance of doing this. So it's wonderful to hear we have, this joining of thought and agreement of what to do. So not feel sore about it, but actually use it to display an ability to collaborate and to agree and to join forces. I think it just has to be said in a positive way. I don't think men realise sometimes that they are doing that. It's not intentional.
Do you have any advice for men who are working with the other women data scientists and ways to help get the women's voice more recognized?
Definitely. So I would say awareness is probably the key thing, and it's for the men and women in the room. So it's awareness, for the guys to think, I need to make sure I go around the room and get everyone's input, and to recognise that it's good input as well. I think that's really important to build the confidence of the lone female in the situation that you talked about, of 9 guys and 1 woman in a room. I think that's really important. But also, for the line manager of the woman to support them in their confidence. So they're also making their points. And it may actually be a slightly different point to the other 9 people in the room, because they may come at it from a different angle. But it's really important as a manager that you're coaching those individuals to be confident to share their thoughts. I think it's really important, and you're absolutely right. It's the responsibility of all of those 10 people in the room to make sure that, we're drawing the opinions of the people. And actually for some of the guys as well, we talk about diversity, but introverts, extroverts, there's diversity left brain, right brain, where everyone has a different, a slightly different input to add to the conversation. And I think by bringing all of that out in the room, you actually get to a better answer than, just focusing on the input of, the individual.
So this upcoming conference, what are some of the sessions that you all are excited about listening to, and also some of the people that you're excited to hear from?
Okay, so the WID team have been working on an incredible agenda for 2018's conference, and there's a very, very diverse mix of opportunities to learn at WID, and Team WID have created the opportunity for our WID community to really create their own women in data journey on the day. So they can really pick and choose, first and foremost, what they need from the women in data community, and that could be technical development, it could be inspiration, it could be mindfulness. There's plenty of opportunities on the agenda, and Rachel, I think you probably can share some of the key points.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, back to Roisin's point, some of the technical streams that we're running, we have an R programming course running all day, so that's anybody who's a beginner within that language right up to somebody who's advanced. We've also offered this year for the first time a Python programming course as well, again covering beginner to advanced level as well, so that's really exciting and something that's additional to last year. But certainly from the demand and feedback from last year's delegates, something that they were very interested in us supplying. Again, going back onto the point of well-being, we have mindfulness sessions, so how to really stop the noise in your head. Everybody has incredibly busy schedules, both at work and outside of work, so some methods and some techniques to perhaps be in the office and be able to quiet the noise in your head and to be very much be able to focus. We thought that would be a great kind of drop-in session. We've got 3 of those running throughout the day. We have a lady who is focused on intersectionality, who's talking about notes to your future self. So rather than continually reflecting on if we were a teenager and we were going to write to our teenage self, actually having the confidence to write to our future self and the capabilities that we know we have and the dreams that we know we can achieve. So it's very much a confidence, very much an interactive session, which is actually just before the lunch period, which is always great to spark a very good networking subject for the guys when they're over the lunch period as well. So
we've also got some serious hitters on the main stage where they'll be speaking to 1,000 of our female data practitioners. That includes the CDO, the Chief Data Officer for Sainsbury's here in the UK, one of our major retailers. She has a session, and she's opening with this year actually, she's opening the conference. A great inspiration to all of the audience because she really has career climbed and is holding probably one of the biggest jobs in data in the UK right now. So that's truly exciting, and she's going to be talking about her journey. We also have Katherine Parsons.
Yep,
we have Katherine opening after lunch, and you may know Katherine Parsons. She is the CEO of a business called Decoded. phenomenally entrepreneurial, very successful, and she's going to be talking about her own personal journey in coding and in data, and how she is affecting change for some of the largest organisations here in the UK.
We also have a couple of panel sessions as well. One of the panel sessions, again for the first time, has a number of ladies that are CDO level for public sector. So we have Lauren Sager-Weinstein from Transport for London, the lady that was responsible for creating the Oyster card here. We have Caroline Benamy from Ordnance Survey. We have Juliet Scott, who is the non-exec director for HMRC. We have Julie Pearce from Food Standards Agency, to name but a few, and that's very much talking about citizen data and how they're helping improve our world, actually, and perhaps many different services that perhaps we don't give much thought to.
We also are doing a big piece this year on data trust for the consumer, and looking at how things like GDPR have affected the consumer landscape here in the UK. We're talking about the consumer and how they feel about how their data is utilised. And we've got a wonderful panel together to talk about that and debate the pros and the cons. I mean, the data industry is now highly regulated in the UK, and we're going to be talking about all the pros and cons to that, trying to deliver effective business. So exciting times as far as the main stage is concerned. We also have these two wonderful ladies joining us on the main stage this year. Edwina will be talking about female leads, and Payal will be helping us open the show.
So this year we're going to be launching the second year of the 20 in Data and Technology. So last year was our first year of announcing the collaboration, and we're really proud. This was last year's booklet, and the amazing ladies that we identified across the industry as role models. And we're super excited of announcing, this year's 20, really from a breadth of different types of companies and industries, and also levels of where they've got to in their careers. But we're really on a mission to try and create gender parity in data science roles across the UK. And it's really important we celebrate those role models and actually inspire the next generation of leaders in the industry. And of course, a lot of it is in collaboration with Edwina here. I'm talking about the female leads,
which we've talked a little about. My ambition is that we have this kind of collaboration and showcase for every industry sector. So we have people in construction, we have women in finance, we have women engineers. I just did one in New York on female engineers, which was really exciting. So yeah, we want to bring it alive and make people realise that particularly things like the sciences are not dead end and nerdy. They are highly paid, highly skilled, and hugely creative jobs.
What should women expect for their first time attending? What's the atmosphere like at the event, and ways to network, and what should they expect by going?
I think the event has grown hugely over the last few years. I remember attending my first one where there were 100 people in the room, and we thought that was big. This year we've got 1,000 people coming, so it's going to have a totally different feeling to, like, even last year where we had 450 amazing ladies there. But really, it's an opportunity for everyone to be equal in the room, and they're with fellow women in the industry to talk openly, to share experiences about how they truly feel in their work environment, what's inspiring them, and actually taking the opportunity to network and hopefully not create some of the barriers that some of these women have when they're at work of being the only female in the room. We're trying to create that atmosphere of no barriers. And I think the fact that we've got so many people coming this year, and those are just the ones that are lucky enough to attend. I know we've got, our network is now 20,000 people across the UK. Yeah. And I just think it demonstrates that there's a need for conferences like this, because the number of people that are wanting to come just demonstrates that fact.
We've had 3,500 people register to attend this year. So we've had to run a ballot to ensure that it's fairly distributed in tickets. So we've issued 1,000 tickets, and now there is now a wait list that we've created. So the demand is very much there. Each year on year, we've had the demand for 4 tickets for every space that we've had. So we're seeing the growth and the trajectory of this increase at such a pace. It's clearly valued and needed across industry. And industry has a huge part to play in this. They've got a great responsibility to ensure that they're giving their women in data access to this community. So it's really exciting times.
How can people get involved that want to help out for those that are either there at the conference or maybe those that can't attend, but they're going to be watching virtually, but want to be able to participate or contribute in some way?
Absolutely. Well, we have a great opportunity for people to share blogs and, for them to take part in the community by releasing their own stories, which we share with the 20,000 women in the community. They also can sign up and register, which allows them to connect and network with other women in the community. The other aspect is that we are looking to launch in 2019 is the opportunity of a created Women in Data mentoring network. So that opportunity will be for us to connect mentees with mentors and vice versa. So that's a really exciting proposition for 2019, to connect these women on a more personal level.
That is wonderful.
And the success story of that, actually, which is really nice, and you're like this, Edwina, as well, is actually there was a gentleman that contacted our Women in Data inquiry line who actually works in product development, so very, very data focused, whose daughter was in her final year of GCSEs. She was looking to really finalise what A-level subject she wanted to do, and she was really wanting to do maths and physics, but was really, just didn't know what to do and didn't really have anybody to give her any advice. And she reached out to us to see if there was somebody that we could put her in contact with. And I'm very pleased to say one of our absolutely brilliant, committed to the end with Jeanette McQuillan, actually from Accenture, actually spent some time talking to her on a couple of occasions to give her some advice about what to expect from an A-level within maths and physics, but equally what to expect from university, which ones would maybe be the best for her. But more importantly than that, she gave her a vision of what roles are out there and how she can apply the maths and science, because I think, it's great that we are encouraging all these women currently in data science and in data, and we are educating them, because naturally we are funded by a number of commercial businesses, so we're educating these women on what's out there in terms of career opportunities. But equally, it's as important that we educate, children coming through their schooling to understand that there is so many opportunities within data science that can fit within their personalities or their personal interests, because it really is data's at the heart of every business now. And I think, going back to you can't be what you can't see, if you have a particular interest, I don't know, in television or in finance or in retail, in whatever industry, there is something that can fit your personality, and it can be from an analytical standpoint as well. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing to see just the tremendous growth that's happening at the Women in Data Conference. It's exciting. It's very cool to see all the work that you guys have laid the groundwork, and now to see this community just grow and thrive, and the numbers are doubling every year. It's just amazing to see this growth. For people that want to learn more, to find out about the virtual events, the online communities, mentorship programs, where should they go?
They need to go straight on to the link that's on the bottom of the podcast, Mike, and they can register their interest in the Women in Data community, and they will receive updates and connection into the community immediately.
Wonderful. So for those listening to the podcast, it's womenindata.co.uk. So you guys can learn more about all the different things that are happening, and also the upcoming conference, wonderful speakers and sessions that are going to be happening.
And Mike, they can also take a link through the Women in Data website to the female lead, where they'll find more information about the wonderful work that Edwina and her team are doing there with schools in the US as well as here in the UK. So please do follow the link there.
Oh, that's right. So the female lead, is it just thefemalelead.com for the URL? Edwina?
Yes, thefemalelead.com, and there's also a really nice page there where you can share images, stories, and quotes from the women who inspire you most, which will include our new collection of Women in Data.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so everybody has a job to do after this episode. Check out thefemalelead.com and also go to womenindata.co.uk. So many cool things happening. Well, I definitely want to catch up with all of you at some point after the event or before the next event, because it's just really cool to see the community that you guys have grown, and I can't wait to see what happens even next year because the growth is phenomenal. So, and it's so cool to see.
We have venues. Sorry, I was going to say I don't think we have any venues that are bigger, so we'll have to bring the next one to America,
to
right?
the US.
Yeah,
for sure.
There we go. There we go. There we go. And it's so cool that you're collecting these stories under the Female Lead. If people want to buy that book, do they just go to femalelead.com?
You can buy it on Amazon
Okay.
and in bookstores. So please go in and ask your bookstore for it. But if you can't get it, Amazon, they have it. Thank you very much. It's perfect for Christmas.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just from you showing me the book, I could just tell the quality, the photography looks outstanding, and the storytelling. I want to read those stories.
The photographer is world famous Brigitte Lacombe, and her sister is a French documentary maker. So the quality of both the book and the films is really beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like a wonderful book. Well, thank you all for being part of today's Data Talk. I would love to catch up with you guys again in the near future. Thank you all for participating today, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.